Hey everybody, thanks for listening to the podcast today. I'm working on growing my YouTube channel at Alex Swire-Clark. I would love for you to subscribe to the channel and like any and all videos that provide value to you. All of the podcasts can be found there, as well as lots of different video content on emotional intelligence and how you can apply it to improve your personal and professional relationships. Thanks for subscribing, and now on to the show. Why does my boyfriend ignore me? I said, why does my boyfriend ignore me? Oh, what, sweetie? What'd you say? What? I said, why does my boyfriend ignore me? Y'all hold tight. I'll be right back. Boy, I'm about to come over there and mess you up. Boyfriends, you gotta love them. They don't intentionally ignore you most of the time. Sometimes it happens because they're focused on other projects. Sometimes it's because they're just lost in la-la land. Sometimes because they're too scared to respond to you, and sometimes because they're just hyper-focused on a project. But which one of those is your boyfriend? Let's discover that and tell you why in this video. Outgoing folks and reserved folks. So when I talk about this outgoing personality style, these folks are fast-paced, involved, energetic, optimistic, positive, enthusiastic. Woo! Take the leg by the tail, just sling it around and throw it somewhere. When conflict comes along, however, though, they focus on talking things out. Hey, Alicia, how are you? Hey, can I help you? Can I help you? Hey, you good? You good? You good? You good? You good? And she wants to slap my hand away. And so if she's more a reserved person, she's going to be a little bit slower paced. Now, that doesn't mean she works slowly. That means just she's slow to act or get engaged because she wants to think things through before she speaks. So they're cautious folks. They're concerned. They're reluctant, critical thinkers, and always discerning. And when conflict comes along for them, they focus on thinking things through. Should I? Nope. But don't have all the facts yet. And that's their mentality. All right, so where are you on that scale of outgoing versus reserved? If you're outgoing, kind of remember that I'm towards the top of the screen. If you're reserved, you're more towards the bottom of the screen. We're going to divide you into people person, or if you're more of a task-oriented person. People-oriented folks are all about caring and sharing and relationships and emotions and feelings and friendships. They focus on the opinions of others and how they feel. So we tend to be pretty emotional, and I am very much a people-oriented person. I'm an emotional guy. You know, I cried during the movie Frozen. Nobody does that, but I did because my daughter was there, and she's gonna have a boyfriend one day and get married. And she said, "Pull it together, Dad." Anyway, because she's more of a task-oriented person. She's all about procedure and function and forms and programs and processes and analytics. She focuses on getting things done at the end of the day. So now you're finding yourself on the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen, and you're on the left side or right side. So let's define a little bit about what each one of these quadrants mean. So we've got these outgoing, task-oriented people. We're going to call you high Ds or dominant styles. Never met a challenge you couldn't face, love to be in charge, take charge mentality. Then we've got our outgoing and people-oriented folks. Those are our inspiring styles. We're going to call you high Is. Just love influencing others, oozing charisma all the time, just like to be in around people. You're all about having fun. And then we have our supportive styles. Those are our reserved and people-oriented. Kind folks, make super friends. They're great listeners, give you the shirt off their back. They're just wonderful people and the glue of any organization. And then we have our high Cs, which are our reserved and task-oriented people. These folks are analytical. They are, think about accountants, lawyers, doctors, those kind of people who are just high-level thinkers. These people are the E.F. Hutton of the disc world. If you remember the old commercial, when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. That's right, people listen. So C's don't really say a whole lot most times, but when they do, they've really thought through what they have to say, and it's usually like, oh, pretty epic in terms of the results of that. Now, we're all a unique blend of these 4 traits. So we all have a little bit of D, a little bit of I, a little bit of S, and a little bit of C, some in more categories than others. I'm an IS. My I is really, really high, my S is really high, and then everything else kind of falls towards the bottom of the scale. Now that you understand the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this methodology, let's see which type of boyfriend you have and why they could be ignoring you. D's are hyper-focused on getting things done. Execution is what they're all about. So if there's a big project at work, nothing exists outside of it. But what about date night? Nothing exists outside of it. D's are super focused on getting things done, so they're not trying to ignore you, but the phone is down. They're not going to worry about distractions. They are focused on getting whatever it is that done. And unfortunately for you, if you are in love, in a relationship, married to one of these high Ds, they're going to have lists that are 32 miles long, and they've got to just spin and churn to get it all out, and they can't sleep until it's done. So make sure that you're aware of that. They're not ignoring you because they don't love you. They just are in the zone. Eyes, God bless us. We're not ignoring you. We just have the attention span of a snail. We just get in the middle of something and like, oh, dude, there's a microphone recording me right now. How cool is that? Hey, what's that microphone? Oh, sorry, we're recording a video, but my bad. And so we get into these situations where we're all over the place. We could be talking about something to a coworker and then step away and what was I supposed to be doing again? And oh yeah, it's date night. Wait a minute. And then 30 minutes later, we forget it's date night. We just have such a small attention span. We're not trying to ignore you, but when the phone buzzes, we'll pick it up for Facebook and then we put it back down and then we'll forget about it for 2 hours because we get involved in something else and we just, woo. So we suffer from shiny object syndrome, SOS. Forgive us. We don't mean to be that way, and we certainly do love you. Prioritization is so hard for S's. So for example, if they're at work and their manager says, hey Alex, can you get this done today for me? Well, sure, I can do that. But then their supervisor comes back and says, hey Alex, I got a project I really need your input on. Can you give me 10 minutes? Sure. And then you call and say, well, don't forget about soccer this afternoon. Oh, soccer's at 4 o'clock. Well, I don't have enough work time to be able to get that done for him and for her, and I don't want to miss Johnny's soccer game. And so for S's, they're not ignoring you because they want to, just sometimes they get overwhelmed and they get analysis paralysis and they don't know who comes next in what order, and somebody's going to get mad if something doesn't happen. They really struggle with trying to prioritize. High C's are very structured, very process-driven individuals, so they actually build in time during their day to check their phones. So if you're a high I person, say, hey, sweetheart, you ready for tonight's big date? They're not going to answer that phone until 10 o'clock when it's on the calendar that they're going to check their phone. They use a phone as a tool, not a bling, oh, somebody wants to talk to me, and they pick it up and look at it. No. They're going to focus on what they have to focus on because like the D's, they have a list that's 32 miles long, and the C's have to do things in a specific order. Unlike a D who can come over here and there and there and there and get all those stuff done. No, C's are going to be very driven by process and order. So they will build in time during the day, not trying to ignore you, but they'll check the phone when it's the right time to check the phone. And that's the difference between them and a D. So did you know all that crazy stuff? You may have, you may not have, but the big thing we have to understand is that it starts with self-awareness. If you don't understand that to start with, well, we need some tools to help us get that done, because guess what? Each percentage of the population can be found within those 4 quadrants of D, I, S, and C. The D's represent about 10% of the population, the I's up to about 25%, those S's in that 30 to 35% range, and those C's at around 20 to 25%. So if you are interacting with an I, that's only 10% of the population, 25% of the population, then they're going to expect certain things in certain ways. But if you're a D and you represent 10% of the population, every time that you speak directly to someone else, there's a 90% chance that you're ticking that person off. And when we're talking about couples, that's a lot of times. So again, it starts with that self-awareness piece. How do we get that self-awareness? Well, it starts with taking an assessment. If you look in the description below, you will see a link to our assessments. We've got some for kids, adults, teens, all over the map. This is going to change the way that you act as a couple. It's going to change the way that you behave at work. It's going to change the way that you go with your golfing buddies, because it's going to transform the way you communicate. Understanding yourself and others and learning how to adapt your behavior is going to open up doors you never even knew existed when it comes to communicating and networking with other people. So what are you doing still listening to me? Get down in the comments, hit the link, man. It's a link. It's a GPBM store. Hit that thing, buy an assessment. I'll see you on the next video.